Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and as it is the first Friday of the month, we have ourselves a new mythic in Gems of War, the Virago. It is in the Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest for this week, and then it'll be in the drop table with everything else. As far as this mythic is concerned, it is yet another tank mythic. Unfortunately, it is a tank mythic with nearly none of the redeeming qualities that some of the other tank mythics have, like Stonehammer and such, and that they're actually capable of tanking. Plus, sometimes they have a little bit of extra, like, you know, his stun burn and stuff like that. This thing is pretty underwhelming. Definitely 100% skippable. As far as what it does, it barriers and enchants all allies, and then gains some life. And based on how this is worded, I assume only itself gains the life, and not the whole team. We'll find out in a second. However, because we're going to open up a bunch of keys, go over 3 teams, and honestly, the teams don't seem bad. It's just they don't really need her to exist. There's better barrier options out there. There's 1.5 billion ways to do that. There's better enchant options out there, most notably Mistralis. And if you need something else, there's like Fennec and stuff. And obviously, just her gaining life, not that good. And even if she gave it to all allies, still not that good. She does have some spell reduction and holy armor. And even this isn't that good, because there's already mythics that have like 50% spell reduction combined with 60% score reduction. So she's just a weaker version of that. Plus, they gain better durability than what she does. I think one of them is like a big armor gain. That's like double that amount only to itself, but still, it's way tankier than what she does. And she also gets one of these very useless traits. I don't understand why they keep even adding these to mythics, but just gain a bunch of life to all green allies when matching gems, which, you know, that can help a little bit with some troops, but that's basically 0 extra stats later in the game when stats start to get particularly high. So overall, yeah, it's a very underwhelming, skippable mythic, but we'll still mess around with it. I think the biggest thing that's missing, other than the obvious, like having some kind of extra turn potential, is no bless. Like if this did almost every positive stats effect, we could be going somewheres. Like if this was barrier, enchant, bless, maybe something else that isn't enrage, like that kind of combination, it could have gone somewheres. Maybe like everything except for enrage and submerge, which I forget what that is as far as every positive stats effect off the top of my head. But like if it did something like that, every single positive except for submerge and enrage, like that could have worked potentially. But I don't know, it just doesn't do enough. And all you need to do to counter this out is just one single curse, and it's like this troop never existed. It just gained a bunch of life for itself doing nothing. So it is pretty bad. But let's go get it. It does count for Forest of Thorns mythic, so, you know, another star there. I believe it reaches 26 star. So we're going to be going for the good old gem chest. Also, shiny keys. We'll be going over those soon, TM. But very soon. Actually, we still need to go over that other mythic too. Speaking of bad mythics, though not really bad, there's a really good mythic that came out the other week, of course, Catharix. Still haven't gone over him. Obviously, he came out when I was away, and haven't gotten that video out quite yet. Been messing around with him. I'm still not sure what to fully think about the other mythic. He's so absurdly good, but gosh, is his extra turn chance so bad. But in some situations, he's better than Zolgoth, and in other situations, he just gives the enemy full mana. Oh, and I like him. It's just very, very inconsistent. But this mythic pretty much has no redeeming quality, the one that came out today, though. Like, you're barely ever going to be using this. There's probably almost no situation where you will, unless there's an event that comes around, where you're under a really weird restriction where she can come in and actually be somewhat useful. But let's go upgrade her, see what she can do in the teams, and go from there. I'll give her a chance, at least, as we do with every single mythic. And let's see if we go to upgradable. Should be the only thing here other than our good old bandit. Okay, let's just go use some orbs on it, speed it up a little. Here's a major green. Here's a major... don't accidentally use a glory on it, unless we already max them all. We're getting there. Use a major orange. Don't actually use a power either. Need that for the second Catharix. I still haven't crafted the second one yet. Oh yeah, I also need to level up the thing. Oh yeah, duh, I used the green orb. I normally forget to do that on a troop. I forgot we literally just used a green orb. Also, it was brought to my attention, I think this is the last of the 12 Zodiacs that's been added to the game. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why, but they keep making all the Zodiac cards very, very bad. Not sure why they keep doing that, but they have been. Anyways, let's go and mess around with these. Let's go mess around in, I don't know, what's my PvP battle right now? Zolgoth Catharix. A little bit too annoying to fight right now. Let's just go for some nice Explore 12 Swords Edge. Okay, let's go bring out, starting from the top. So, we're going to be starting with 4 times Divide. We're using it with Divine Protector. Divine Protector used to be old meta. Still kind of decent as far as using it. We're using it Priest class, a class that is pretty much only used if you're using Divine Protector. But hey, that's what we're doing right now. She does count as a Divine Elemental, so we are using her for both sides. In this team, we're using her for Divine. In the next team, we're going to be using her for Elemental. And then we're going to be using her in a low-rarity team. So do we have alignment here? We have red to skull and green to yellow, neither of which do anything. So let's go get Divine Protector up. Fortunately, I'm forced to have to take mana that I have a -1 in to get +1 into the other one, and now we just evened out at not having full mana. But, oh, I can't even take the other thing right over there either. I'll just take the skull first thing off the sky. I didn't get it. Let's take our green, and that should be enough to get things rolling. Everything we need from here forth. We'll just grab the skull, get rid of everything on the board that we don't really need. Okay, so we can do our summon now. So this should bless and enchant everything on the team. Or sorry, barrier and enchant. So we'll do that. I wish you had bless. But there we go. And as you can see, everything gets protected. I believe she was the only one who got the life there, which still makes no sense. She's already so bad. Just let her have a life to all allies. That wouldn't have made her broken. That wouldn't have even made her useful. Would have just made her slightly less worse. Let's see. How on earth do you still not have alignment? You know what we're just going for? We need some damage here. We need any damage we can get. Okay, we'll go for that. We'll go for that. Keep getting our skull pokes in there. Nothing we really do there. We're mostly just waiting on the enchant on next turn, so we'll give it a turn. Go for that big Ketris hit. We are still getting some benefit from her thing, though. Even though she's not giving life via her ability and is only greedily taking all of it for herself, she is still giving 4 massive life every time we take a green. And we've definitely taken a good chunk of greens this battle. Okay, let's go for the other buff. But yeah, it's underneath the category of useless tank mythic, which is kind of funny because she's actually so bad at tanking. I don't think I used her as our primary tank on a single one of these teams. Not a single one did I bother putting her in first slot. I guess on the low rarity team we technically could. So maybe we'll switch that. I think I put, I forget what I put there. I think I put an archer there so we get damage pressure, as it's generally better than having a tank there in any context of any team. But especially including her. The weirdest thing is she doesn't even have any follow-up. Like, if I want to get rid of that barrier, I can't even, like, cast her in order to go get, like, you know, like a curse down or an explode to do 1 singular damage. It just doesn't really do anything. Doesn't really do anything at all. We'll throw that down. It's like playing with 3 troops. Even almost worse. It's like 2.5. Because it's kind of just blocking you and getting in the way of everything you want to try to do. And Divine Ishbala, you have not been getting any alignment this battle. I just want you to poke, and you keep not poking, and nothing keeps gaining barrier, and this team does not have a proper way to mini-poke. Alright, that should be enough, right? You know what, let's just overkill it. We created all the red. Oh. Wait, why did I do so little? Wait, what? Did they change how multi-skull works? I should have killed it, but there we go. Because normally multi-skull and the barrier hits through, but sometimes it calculates weirdly. Anyways, let's try the 4x elemental team. This one we're going to be going with a bit of a more standard damage source. We're actually running with Wild Queen. And it was also brought to my attention, they both have a very similar pose, which I did not notice until it was brought to my attention, and probably never would have noticed. I don't think they look that similar, though. Obviously, after like 1,300 something troops, because I think that we're at 1,294 now as of this troop. Obviously, they're going to repeat some poses, but I don't know, they look unique enough. So those look pretty similar. They both have like the handout thingy, but they're definitely very different art style-wise. Or, you know, not art style-wise, but, you know, the composition of what they look like. Anyways, let's go and bring out the yellow over there. See if we can get that last little bit of mana. Can't get it over there. We'll go for the brown. You need full mana and you need full mana. It doesn't matter which. I just need one of you to get it and not both of you trying to compete for mana, which is what is currently happening. Where both of you are slightly taking mana, but neither of you are actually reaching full mana. So we'll take the green over here. Unfortunately, not a lot of green, especially after taking that green. But we'll go get that down. Start working up Wild Queen. And we'll go from there. If we could just get one elemental bow rolling, that would also be great. So let's go throw down our buff, get our barriers, get our enchants, get everything up. We do have alignment there. Go for the big damage. While it does deny the green we need, it does invest it into a ton of damage, which we can then use for Wild Queen, which we can then use into elemental bow. So we throw that down, throw down the elemental bow, and we should be good to go from here. Unless we get really unlucky with the gem placement there. I guess the bigger issue right now would be getting full mana back. So we'll take that, get our full mana back, and get the one that isn't entangled, because she does get to steal some attack. And if they currently have 0 attack, you can't actually steal it. And there she go. I guess she provided some barrier and one single enchant that might have helped us somewheres there. But otherwise, I guess she was also giving us 4 life every single green. though we didn't really need it. Also, I did have to go Elemental Bow, so that doesn't count as green. So really, I was just giving it to Wild Queen and herself. And now for the low-rarity team. And yeah, I didn't use her as the tank here either, because I needed to not block Rowan. So, oh, I guess you could go that if you really needed a better tank on this team. But it's basically Black Manacle Rowan. We're using Virago to barrier up Rowan. Definitely not the best way to be doing so, but it is a way of doing so, if nothing else. If you somehow have her, but not a better barrier option. It also might be one of your early game access to enchants. Well, ideally, you want to be using Mistralis for enchant. Earlier on in the game, you might not have access to Mistralis, and this could potentially be an alternative to that for the rare people that happen to have not Mistralis, but happen to have gotten her. So that could be a factor, I guess. As there aren't too many really good enchanters. The first that come to mind are Phoenix and particularly Mistralis. There are a few handful of others, but they're the main ones that come to mind. And she's not really in that category, but if it was like the only good thing you had at like enchanting your entire team, there might be some circumstances super early on where you can get away with actually using her to some decent value. As in, 4 times enchant itself actually is pretty good. That's 8 mana per turn across your entire team, so including onto the troop that just cast it, as you're also implying it to yourself. So that's, in theory, isn't actually that bad. It's just the way she applies it is not ideal compared to other ways we have. I was hoping he would waste his summon. Hopefully this is enough damage. It is, okay. Could have just casted that the previous turn. But anyways, that is the new Mythic. Overall, extremely skippable. Better just to be grinding the good old Volt event we have right now. Actually, we can see it right over there. Of course, we got a Volt event going on all weekend. Definitely a great time to be grinding that. But yeah, not really worth throwing keys at this. Unless you have most of the Mythics in the game, you need to get it for completionist sake. I didn't actually show it here, but if I'm not mistaken, Forest of Thorns does become 26 star, or just 1 more star to be able to get it up if you need the other upgrades. So there is that. 26 star doesn't really do anything, but it makes it easier to get 10 star, easier to get 20 star. So if you haven't already done that, at least that has become easier, as there's a whole nother Mythic now. So getting 1 Mythic, getting 2 Mythics, milestones for the Kingdom, just ever so slightly easier. And if you have most of the Mythics in the game, you generally go for every new Mythic, regardless how good it is, just so because a new Mythic that is bad is still better than an old Mythic that's a repeat. So it's still good in that regard. But overall, it is like a D tier Mythic that is essentially never going to be used unless you're super early on in the game and you kind of need like an alternative enchant option due to not having any of the better enchant options or something. But overall, very skippable. It's a tank Mythic that can't tank. It's a buff Mythic that can't buff properly. And yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. It just can't. It's supposed to tank, but doesn't tank proper enough, as is almost every tank Mythic. And it's trying to buff, but doesn't do enough buffs to justify ever using it under the rarest of circumstance. There might be an event where we have to use like Forest of Thorns troop, and who knows, maybe we'll come into there, as we do have a lot of restrictions lately where niche troops like this do get some usage. But overall, it is pretty bad, pretty skippable, but good luck if you're going to be trying for it. Anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up for now. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. We will be grinding that Volt event weekend all this weekend, so if you want to see that, we'll be streaming every single night. I might even do a midday stream this weekend just to get even more grind in there. Probably aim for about 300 keys, might go for a little bit more. And of course, a lot of good loot in there and a lot of gems. This is actually the first one we've had since 7.0, and while it specifically didn't get buff at all from 7.0, there's still a lot of loot that can be accumulated from it, like gems and such, which can be thrown at newer content, like Underspire and stuff like that. So in that regard, it can help you with newer content, as well as just getting everything in the game. So there's that. Anyways, that's the Mythic. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch all you guys later. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.